by means of bhajana kriya, by following the rules and regulations of devotional service, by the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master, you get to this level of anartha nivritti. Okay? Where all the bad qualities, all the bad activities disappear. But because no one is following, nobody's even trying to follow the rules and regulations of devotional service, no one is reaching that level. It's very simple. Without being instructed by a bona fide spiritual master, you cannot reach that level. Without following the rules and regulations of devotional service, according to the scriptures, you cannot reach. That is the process to reach. In the beginning, you try and you fall down and you fail. Then you get back up and you try again and you make a mistake and you fall down again. And then you slowly realize which mistakes you're making and why, and you gradually reform your character. It's something that you have to do because you want to. It can't be done by force. See, that's another mistake that religions make. They think, oh, by using force, you know, by embarrassing people in public if they make a mistake and stuff like that, then we can gradually force them to become good. Well, no, you can't. It doesn't work. You can encourage them to cheat and make believe that they're pure before they really are. Either to win the praise of the followers or to avoid being made fun of in public. But that's not really a good reason to change. A much better reason to change is because Krishna is the source of real pleasure, and we want to get closer to the source of real pleasure. See? We want real pleasure that doesn't go away with time, that doesn't erode with the changes in the material world. We want a pleasure that is not subject to the modes of material nature and the influence of time. See? We want pleasure that comes from the spiritual platform, that's unconditional. Just like the absolute truth, the knowledge given in the Vedas is unconditional. Well, so the pleasure derived from that knowledge is also unconditional and eternal. Anything that exists on the spiritual platform is eternal. That's the fundamental, basic point of Vaishnava philosophy. You have to understand this point to understand the rest of it. The fundamental thing, the difference between matter and spirit is that matter is temporary and spirit is eternal. Matter is subject to time and spirit is not subject to time. Not subject to change. It's unconditional. Its existence is unconditional. Its qualities are unconditional. Everything about it. So try to understand this. This is also true of our consciousness and our spiritual advancement. When we learn something or when we make advancement in spiritual life, that advancement is permanent. It's eternal. It doesn't change. Once won, it's never lost. And even if we don't complete the path in this lifetime, in the next lifetime we take up exactly from where we left off. So this spiritual life is so wonderful. Anything that we advance in spiritual life becomes permanent. So, over the last few days, we have summarized the first 19 chapters of the Bhagavad-gītā, the Nectar of Devotion, as translated by Srila Prabhupada. Now, before we launch into the next section, which is very elevated, it deals with bhava, transcendental emotions. We already covered this subject a little bit in the past, but we didn't do it in a very systematic way. So before we get into that, I want to talk more about the Anarthas. Because without getting rid of the Anarthas, without getting to the stage of Anartha Nivritti, then there's no access to the higher levels of spontaneous devotional service, ecstatic emotion, what to speak of pure love of Krishna. So let's go into that a little bit. First, before we do, are there any questions about what we talked about so far? It's pretty much a summary of everything that we've been discussing the last few days or last few weeks. No? How many people are signed up?
Like 15.
15? Kind of small today, huh?
Because of the freak out.
Freak out. Oops. Got into too much detail there, huh? Well, this will really freak you out.
A little less, yeah. But total of 16.
Okay, so you talked about the process, how when you first come, based on a little bit of faith, you try the process. Because the process is scientific, you get the result. That's the end of the need for faith. Then faith changes into confidence, knowledge. And by knowledge we mean direct consciousness. We don't mean theoretical knowledge. We don't mean knowledge about devotional service or about Krishna. We mean direct consciousness of Krishna himself. That's the result. So when you get the result, then there's no more need to have faith because you have knowledge. You have consciousness. You have direct awareness. Oh, yeah, this is what happens. Right, just like it said in the scriptures. You do the process, you get the result. What need is there for faith? Faith means trust that, oh, this is correct, and sometime in the future I'll get the benefit. Then when you actually get the benefit, it's like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what they said would happen. Okay. Then there's no more need for faith. We go on confidence that everything I did according to these instructions came out exactly the way they said it was going to. So from that point on, you don't need faith. The trust is there. And because of the trust, we have confidence. Just like when we have a friend who's never let us down. Actually, the only friend like that is Krishna. Everybody else is going to let us down. Then we have confidence that in the future he's going to behave in the same way. There's not any reason for change. So let's discuss a little bit about Anarthas. Anartha means an unwanted thing, unwanted quality or activity. Artha means wealth. Anartha means the opposite, like a debt or a detriment or a debit. The opposite of wealth, poverty. If we have artha, artha leads to development of economic surplus. And that means we can give to others, we can share with others, we have more than we need. Anartha leads to the opposite, where we have less than we need and we have to depend on others. You see? So, anartha nivritti could be understood as the cessation of poverty. You see? That our poverty goes away, or the reason for our poverty goes away. Our poverty is due to the fact that we're not connected to Krishna. Krishna is all wealth, all power, all fame, all knowledge, all beauty, all renunciation. That's the meaning of Bhagavan. Krishna is Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means he has everything in full abundance. So if we become connected with Krishna, we have access to Krishna's resources. See, and this is artha. This is wealth. This is real wealth. This is the wealth that doesn't go away, that's eternal. Because we cannot by ourselves, we're very limited. Our potency is very limited. We can't generate real wealth. We can only borrow or use Krishna's wealth. See? The wealth of this world comes and goes. But the spiritual wealth is eternal. Just like in my chart, I have Mars exalted in Capricorn. Exactly. It's within just a few seconds of the exact degree of exaltation. So when astrologers look at my chart, they go, wow, Mars exalted in the 10th house. Man, you're rich. Aren't you? Yeah, you're rich. Uh-huh. Yeah, you are. And I say, no, I don't have that much money. But they say, well, that's what it means. Mars in the 10th house in Capricorn, exalted? Oh, come on, you're kidding me. You're not a millionaire?